Hello Internet, and welcome to my review for Fairy Tail episodes 296 and 297. We last left our heroes. Natsu learned the truth about his birth from Zareth, that he is END, and that if he kills Zareth, he will die. But Natsu doesn't really care, so he tries to kill Zareth anyway, but Happy is like, I care, and rescues Natsu. And then he gets sick. He has we find out later on that he has an anti-ether nano tumor from overusing his magic for however many years he's been doing it. It was really kicked off by the full force of the Fire Dragon King mode. And then we have, what else is there? There's Brandish, who's getting choked out by Marin when the last episode ended, or 2 episodes ago ended at this point. And yeah, that's really all I have. I think there was some more stuff, but that doesn't really come into play in these 2 episodes. But yeah, after last time's Brandish cliffhanger, Lucy and Kana save Brandish just in the nick of time. It's a little disappointing that we don't actually see them fight Marin, but it's whatever. Marin's such a minor character, I'm not too upset. And we can tell right away, just in Brandish's interactions, that it has changed her perception of them somewhat. Not enough, given that at this point, Brandish still believes Layla killed her mother. But it's a stepping stone that will be enlarged. It'll be less of a stepping stone and more of all the way there. Once she learns the truth, that we'll get into in a little bit. But our first sign that her perception of this changed is that Brandish does agree to tell Lucy her relationship to Layla. Admittedly, we do find out that a part of this is just a ploy to get Lucy alone so that she can off her. But also I do think that she would not have used this plan before Lucy saved her. You know, she was at least willing to let Lucy know the truth before she died. I don't think the Brandish of before this episode would have done that. But yeah, anyway. Brandish finally tells Lucy her version of what happened with Layla and Brandish's mother, Grammy. That's that Layla originally gave the Aquarius key to Grammy, but then eventually decided to kill Grammy to get the key back. And the fact that this whole explanation is missing the why of why Layla would do this is the first hint that something is not right about Brandish's story. The second is when Aquarius comes back to set the record straight, and we get Aquarius back for a glorious 10 minutes. You know what? Aquarius's departure in the middle of Tartaros is, in my opinion, one of the best moments in the entire manga. So I know there's a bit of an uproar when she came back briefly, as people thought it undercut what happened in Tartaros. I disagree, especially given that she goes away real fast, and Lucy does not even get her key. She does not have time. She won't be even searching for the key until the war is over, as she says at the end of this episode. But yeah, anyway, before I get to there, let's move on the plot. In that first scene, once Aquarius comes back, we see that Lucy and Aquarius' relationship has not changed a bit since Tartaros. The whole snapping that Aquarius always did against Lucy is kind of gone as a result of what they went through together during Allegria in Tartaros. And honestly, their relationship is still really great. Her relationship with Brandish, that's a thing that happened. It's a little weird. More than a little weird. It's very weird. It's a very weird relationship. But we don't really see it because Aquarius is gone again, so we don't really get to explore that relationship. It's just a weird master-servant relationship with Aquarius as the master. It's a weird thing. It's a very weird thing, and I don't know why it's there. It's a thing. I don't know. Anyway, Aquarius reveals the idea of this place called, I think it's the Memory of the Stars, where they can see the memories, the archived memories of celestial spirits, to get to the bottom of what actually happened. And it's a really convenient way to have no one doubt that Aquarius is telling the truth. It helps that she is telling the truth, but instead of you can't have any Brandish like doubting her when like right before her eyes she's seeing Zoldio kill Grammy and not Layla. And I'll get to that in a second because before that, just like everything in this arc, the truth begins with the 400-year plan. That's kind of like the theme of this arc, is that everything can be traced back to that moment in the 300s when Anna and Zareth started their plan to kill Acnologia. The flashback is great, though. Even if it does fall into the whole everything is the 400-year plan bit, the flashback is still great. Have I mentioned Mashima's like a master of tragic flashbacks? All of his flashbacks are so good. There's one later on you'll see is just phenomenal. Anyway, it's not what we're talking about yet. The flashback is great, with Layla not being able to get the Aquarius key back from Grammy in time to open the eclipse. So she has to use her own life force to do it, which kills her. We never knew how Layla died. It kills her slowly. She doesn't die right away. She's weakened, and then she eventually passes away, I presume. And then Grammy comes back, and like in her shame for not having known what Layla was up to, gives her the Aquarius key in shame, and is like, yeah, take this. I don't deserve it. They have this cute little moment where like they promise that their daughters play together. A reminder that like Brandish and Lucy would be the same age if Lucy had not been asleep for 7 years. That's an interesting little tidbit. Anyway, then lest we forget about him, Zoldio, who has not been mentioned since Tenro, shows up and kills Grammy in revenge. Because Layla's affliction is caused by Grammy not being there with the Aquarius key. It's all real good, tragic storytelling, and it starts the reconciliation between Lucy and Brandish, that will continue later on in the episode. Before that can happen, though, all of their kind of, like, emotional emotions, that's a new word for the day, emotional emotions, are kind of broken up by Happy barging into the room, telling them that Natsu is no longer moving. Or his heart is not beating. Poor Yuzuka, who happens to be there because why not, tells them that Natsu is under the had the what I said at the beginning of the video, the anti-ethernano tumor somewhere inside of him, and Brandish offers to save him, which she does. And this is the moment that really emphasizes why Brandish is such a great character. You know, what we'll see from here on out, going into as little spoilers as possible, is this conflict between her newfound friendship with Lucy after, like, learning the truth, and continuing the bond of their mothers, and her loyalty to Zareth and Alvarez. And of course, those two are going to have Brandish conflicted within herself, and it's utterly fascinating to watch for weeks and months to come. So I hope you all looking forward to that, because Brandish, I love Brandish from here on out. But anyway, Brandish surrenders herself again to go to jail, back into the prison. Also, here's a random thought. Why does Fairy Tail have a prison? It comes up later with Gajil and Levy. I'm going to talk about that later. One of the cutest fucking scenes in the whole series. But why does Fairy Tail have a jail? I would get it if they were putting her in, like, the Magnolia jail. Of course, the town would have a jail. Why would a guild have a jail? It's a guild. They're not arresting people. Whatever. I'll ignore it for now. Anyway, Lucy and Aquarius' final conversation is so sweet. You know, just like Aquarius, plays it off like, oh, I'm not going to tell you how to find the key. You have to do it yourself. But, like, you can tell just all of the trust, Aquarius is putting in Lucy. Of course Lucy will find it. She's Lucy. She's going to find Aquarius' key, and Aquarius has every single faith in Lucy that will happen. Also, Lucy has a goal for what she wants to do after the war ends, which she did not really have before, besides, like, writing and, like, living her life, which is a good enough goal. Most of the cast's goal is just, I want to live my life without getting bombed by Zareth. But anyway, that's really all we see of Lucy and Natsu for both these episodes, actually. I think. You might get a little bit of Lucy in 297, but it's not a whole lot. I forget what episode of Conversation with Freed is in, but I'm not going to bring it up because it's not really that important. Anyway, we then check in on the Hargion and the Northern Front real fast, and then we cut to the Eastern Front, where we learn that God Serena has completely annihilated the four gods, without even breaking a sweat. And the episode ends with Serena deciding to kill Warrod first. Yeah, that's how 296 ends. 297 picks up right where we left off. I'll talk about both these episodes as a unit because they kind of work as a unit. It's not like the two Boruto episodes I covered the other day that just like were completely separate stories. These, they definitely flow into each other. 297 picks up right where we left off, with Warlord deciding he's not actually dead yet. And decides that he's going to die anyway, so he's going to take God Serena with him. And that gives the four gods the motivation they need to bring in one last charge against God Serena. It does not work, because we find out that God Serena has 8 Dragon Slayer Lacrima, all of which are more powerful than any Dragon Slayer Lacrima, or just regular Dragon Slayer powers we've seen before, besides maybe Natsu's Fire Dragon King mode from a few episodes ago. So yeah, God Serena is OP. He beats down the four gods again, without breaking a sweat, without getting a speck of dirt on his outfit. God Serena, August, and Jacob move on towards Magnolia, when they encounter Acnologia. And without even pausing, he does not break stride. Acnologia rips a hole in God Serena, killing him. God Serena dies right there by Acnologia. The anime actually censors how much of it, like in the episode, it goes up to like maybe here, but like much lower down, of course. I just can't get that low on my body in the camera. In the manga, it's like all the way to here, and it's like completely decimated. But he's still dead here. God Serena is dead as a doornail dead. Yeah. Then we cut to after God Serena's death. We cut to Laxus and Urza and Wendy and Gray and Juvia on their way to Hargion, where there's some cute interactions, yada yada yada. The important stuff is that Laxus is still being affected by all those Bane particles he inhaled a year ago at the beginning of Tartaros. He makes a comment about, I'm not gonna die before this is all over, which is like yet another death flag being raised. There are so many death flags going. Speaking of something that might be a death flag, the cutest scene in all of Fairy Tail, maybe. In the Northern Front, the night before the battle picks up again, Levi runs into Gajil, neither of whom are able to sleep. And Gajil puts Levi under arrest for acting weak. Once Levi says that she's worried she'll never see the guild again. And Gajil tells her, since you're arrested, I'll have to throw you in the guild house's jail. It's so cute. Gajil. Just Gajil. Gale is the cutest fucking ship in the entire goddamn show. I will stand by it. Good shit. Anyway, we spend the rest of the episode back in Hargion. And we are finally at my favorite fight of the whole arc, Wendy and Chelia versus Demaria. And I know you're saying, wait a second, Gracer. Wendy and Chelia have the best fight of the whole arc? You're damn right they do. You are damn right they do. And you will see that next week or the week after, whenever the fuck they do it. It's fucking amazing. It's the best fight in the arc. Oh, it's so good. Wendy and Chelia versus Demaria, phenomenal. But we don't get to see really any of that this week, because we spend the rest of the episode primarily with Wall. One more thing, before I leave Wendy and Chelia and Demaria for good, at least for the good of the video, you know what I mean. There's a line Demaria has where she says, I can beat you in an instant from your perspective. Pay attention to that. That'll be important next week. But anyway, moving on to the rest of the episode. What happened to all of Urza's bandages? We see her the night before they arrive in Hargion, and she's like all bandaged up from her fight with Gilles. But during the Battle of Hargion, including her arms are also have a good bit of bandages on them. But we see her in Harjion, and her sleeves do not cover her arms, and her arms are bare. There's no bandages on her arms. So what happened there? I mean, the idea of Urza already being ready to fight by Harjion has always been kind of weird. But yeah, just having them vanish that fast is just wonky, you know? Anyway. Meanwhile, Laxus versus Wall. Laxus is ready to get revenge for what Wall did to the Thunder God tribe. But Laxus has a huge handicap, both because of the whole, like, Bane particle things, and because lightning doesn't work on Wall, which is incredibly overpowered. But yeah. And the episode ends with Laxus barely holding on to life in the fight with Wall. And that's where we leave off. So, another pair of good episodes in Fairy Tail. They kind of had a bit of everything in these two episodes. You had good flashbacks with, like, it's Majima, so of course. Some good fights, with just how much God Serena, overwhelms the four gods. And with, Laxus and Wall, the little that we see of it. The horror of Acnologia just ripping through God Serena. Cute relationships with Gale. What's not to love? The second episode, admittedly, is definitely more of a setup for what's to come than anything else. But it instills a lot of hype for what's to come, so that's a plus. All in all, it's a good time. Next time, the Wall fight continues, and the greatest fight starts in full. So I'm going to leave this video off here. Hope you all enjoyed the episodes and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe or do whatever the fuck you want. I don't really care. And as always, people, keep kicking ass, and I'll see you in the future. Bye!